The Lure of the Wightwood, Act 1. The Wightwood stretched beyond the horizon, a smothering tangle of boughs and brambles that devoured the light. Few dared to tread its shadowed paths, save for the desperate or the mad. I, Gwyneth of Alderwold, a lowly daughter of the plough, was the former. With the harvest scant and my father's wrath as unrelenting as the frost, I sought solace beneath the eaves of that dark domain. The forest was hushed, save for the rustle of leaves that danced like whispers about my ears. The air thickened with a sweetness that clung to my throat. 'Twas then I beheld him, a figure of ethereal grace, cloaked in shadow, yet gleaming as though moonlight itself wept for his beauty. His gaze, dark as the abyss yet alight with mischief, pinned me where I stood. "Fairest bloom in a field of thorns," quoth he, voice a melody that stirred my marrow. "Why dost thou wander so far from hearth and home?" Fear and wonder warred within me, yet my tongue betrayed me. I seeketh nothing, sir, but to escape the woes of a cruel world. "And wouldst thou escape it entire?" His smile unfurled like a serpent from its coil. "I can grant thee a reprieve, sweet maid. But at what price?" He stepped closer, and the world melted away, the ache of hunger, the bite of winter's breath, the sting of my father's hand. His touch, cool and beguiling, traced my cheek, and I trembled. When his lips met mine, 'twas as though the stars collapsed in rapture. In the moss-strewn hollow I surrendered to him, and in my folly bound myself to his will. When dawn's pallor crept through the trees, he spoke once more, his words barbed with promises. "A pact, my darling. Thou shalt bring me the flesh of fairer maids, those whose beauty rivals thine own. In return, I shall grant thee life eternal and riches beyond thy reckoning." My heart wavered, repulsed by the monstrous bargain. Yet as he wove visions of opulence and immortality, I saw not the grisly path ahead, but the end of my suffering. What was the life of a noble's daughter, I reasoned, weighed against my deliverance. And so I nodded, my voice weak. "I shall do as thou asketh." His laughter rang like shattered bells. "Thy word is thy bond, sweet Gwyneth. Betray it not, or thou shalt know torment such as mortals cannot fathom." With that he vanished, leaving naught but the lingering scent of honey decay and the faintest shimmer of unnatural light. End of Act 1, Act 2. Days passed before I dared to venture forth into Alderwold's bustling village square. My quarry stood before me, Lady Marian, the comely daughter of the local lord, whose beauty was famed across the shire. Yet how could I, a mere peasant, ensnare such a prize? My tongue stumbled over feigned pleasantries as I approached her in the market, and she looked upon me with bemused disdain. Through feigned kindness and cunning, I learned of Lady Marian's fondness for wild flowers. On the morrow I lured her into the Wightwood with promises of a secret glade where the rarest blooms did grow. My stomach churned with guilt, yet the image of the fae's cruel smile spurred me onward. At the glade's edge my courage faltered. "Marian," I stammered, "I know not to proceed." She laughed, her voice bright as silver bells. "Thou art a strange one, Gwyneth. Fear not, I shall lead." Yet as she stepped into the clearing, the fae emerged from the shadows, his grin feral and eyes aglow with hunger. Lady Marian's screams echoed in my ears long after her blood stained the earth. When next I saw him, the fae's beauty was a shade diminished, as though he had gorged himself upon Marian's essence. His voice, once mellifluous, grated upon my ears. "Thou hast done well, my sweet, yet thy task is far from complete." I recoiled. "How many must I bring thee?" "As many as it pleaseth me," he hissed. "Thou art mine, body and soul." Bound by dread, I lured another maid into the Wightwood, and another. Each life stolen weighed heavier upon me, yet the fae's power grew. His visage twisted, his once radiant form now a grotesque parody of its former glory. A desperate hope took root in my heart. If I ceased his feast, might his strength wane. But the thought of defiance chilled me, for his wrath promised no quarter. Yet as the villagers began to speak of the disappearances, suspicion crept closer. One fateful eve, the constable's men seized me, their accusations a hammer upon my skull. "Thou art the harbinger of death," they cried. "Confess thy sins or face the gallows." With no proof against me, they released me with warning. Yet I knew my days among them were numbered. Desperation drove me to confront the fae in his lair. "Release me from this torment," I cried. "I beg thee," he laughed, his form now monstrous, his beauty a distant memory. "Foolish girl, there is no release." In my fury, I seized a shard of glass from the forest floor and slashed at his chest. His blood, black as pitch, hissed upon the earth, and his laughter turned to a howl of rage. Thou shalt regret this insolence, mortal. End of Act 2. Act 3. The Fae's curse fell upon me, warping my flesh and mind. My hair turned white as bone, my skin withered like autumn leaves. Yet I fled his wrath, seeking sanctuary in the village. In the depths of my despair, I stumbled upon an ancient crone who dwelt on the moor. She listened to my tale and spoke of the Fae's true name, a weapon that might undo him. Speak it in his ear, child, and thou shalt end his reign. Armed with this knowledge, I returned to the Wightwood. The Fae awaited me, his form grotesque and bloated with stolen beauty. As he lunged, I whispered his name, Ealdrith, and watched as his flesh unravelled, leaving naught but a hollow scream. Yet the curse lingered upon me. Though Ealdrith was no more, his darkness remained. The forest writhed with his dying breath, consuming all within its grasp. With trembling hands I set fire to the Wightwood, its flames a beacon against the encroaching night. The villagers watched in silence as the cursed forest burned, their fear of me greater than their relief. Now I wander, an exile marked by the Fae's touch. My beauty lost, my soul tainted, I am neither alive nor dead. The stars bear witness to my penance, and the wind whispers the tale of Gwyneth the accursed, who struck a bargain with the shadows and paid the price. The end.